In this video, I'd like to demonstrate how to frame a wall. We're going to use regular framing techniques for residential type construction, and these framing techniques are used very similarly in commercial construction as well as industrial type construction. So we're just going to frame these exterior walls. We'll start with this wall here in front. Currently we have everything we need. We have our sole plate or our bottom plate in place on the wall, showing the layout of the exterior and interior walls. Normally on a construction site like this, we would snap lines with a chalk line, showing where all the walls are going to be. We would build the walls laying down on the deck or on this floor here, and then once they're framed together, we'd stand them up. But being as this is SketchUp, we'll be able to build it right in place vertically. But first I need some materials. I've got a plate, I got plate material, but I need a stud. So I'm going to make a stud. So to do that, I'm going to draw a rectangle, and then I'm going to put in 1.5 because it's 1.5 inches wide by 5.5. Okay, that's what the size looks like. And then I'm going to extrude that size in 3 dimensions, and I'm going to go 92 and 5/8 inches. Okay, that's the standard length of a pre-cut 2x6 stud, or even a pre-cut 2x4 stud. The pre-cut stud for an 8-foot wall is going to be 92 and 5/8 inches tall or long. Now I'm going to highlight this stud, and I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to make it a group. I'm going to go to my paint bucket, and I'm going to paint it so it looks like a piece of wood. And now I have my stud for framing my walls. Okay, 1.5 inches wide, 5.5 inches by 92 and 5/8 inches. Then I'm going to select it, right click, copy, right click, paste, and I'm going to paste this stud over here near this wall. And then I'm going to just bring it down and slide it right into place at the end of this plate. Each wall section will always have a stud at the end, at each end. So at this end, and then we'll need a stud at the other end as well. So I'm just going to right click and paste, and then select the outside corner so I can snap to that corner. There. Now we have our 2 end studs for our wall. And of course, each wall has a top plate. So I'm going to copy that and paste it up here on top so that we'll have our complete wall frame. There we go. There it is. I'll select the corner, bring it over, and drop it into place. Now we have our wall frame. All we need to do now is fill in the studs, but we have to make sure that the spacing of the studs is correct. What I mean by that is when we put plywood on the walls, and this plywood is going to go vertically, we need to make sure there's a stud at every place where the plywood ends. The plywood starts at the outside edge of the building. And so it's going to progress this way at 16 inches on center. But we're starting here and not at the outside. So when we make the first stud over, we need to go 16 inches on center from this side. So we come over with a guideline, and we go 16 inches. That's where the next stud will be. We right click. Oh, actually, we need to click on the stud, copy, paste. Now that's the center line of the stud. So we're going to grab the center, the midpoint of the object, and put it right on that intersection of that dashed line. And now we have our first stud at 16 inches. The rest of them can go 16 inches on center. And we're going to use the array command again, just like we did with the floor joist. So we highlight the stud, and then we use our move command, and we hit our control key. So we have the little plus sign down by the cursor, and then we move it along the red axis, and we say 1/6 enter, and then we say asterisk, and then a number. I'm just going to say 12, and it's going to put in 12 studs. And it's okay if you put in too many. It looks like I got one too many. I'm going to highlight the one extra one and hit the delete key. And we have one stud right here near the end, and that's okay. You can have a small space or a space smaller than 16 inches. You just can't have a space bigger than 16 inches. And that's how you would frame a wall. Bottom plate, a top plate, studs at each end, and then studs at 16 inches on center, starting from where the plywood starts. In this case, it's not the end of the wall, it's the outside edge of the floor. Okay, and then you'll do that for all of the walls around the house. And then we'll come back in future videos and we'll show you how to put in the windows and the doors and then the corners and the blocking for the interior partitions and so forth.